So, good afternoon to the students at the Jamaica School of Preaching and Biblical Studies in Mona Heights, Kingston 6, Jamaica, and to all of you from different nations that are watching YouTube. Welcome to the class Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. We are at lesson 17, entitled Nouns and Adjectives. The general objectives of this lesson are: 1. To examine masculine and feminine nouns. 2. To examine masculine and feminine adjectives. The specific objectives are: 1. At the end of this lesson, the students will have identified how to form feminine nouns. 2. At the end of this lesson, the students will have identified how to form feminine adjectives. 3. At the end of this lesson, the students will have outlined 6 relationships between adjectives and nouns. 4. At the end of this lesson, the students will have identified how to form the third person feminine singular verb of the past tense. 5. At the end of this lesson, the students will have recited 16 new vocabulary words. 6. At the end of this lesson, the students will have done oral translation of nouns and adjectives. Now, not all of this is going to be covered today. Some of it will be done today, and some of it will be done tomorrow. And possibly next week, we will be able to complete this lesson. And so we begin by looking at masculine nouns. There is no special ending for masculine nouns. As you can see from the different nouns, Zeus has a different ending from Ish, and Ish has a different ending from Navi, and Navi has a different ending from Melech. So there are 4 nouns up there, and they all have different endings. So there is no one way to end the masculine nouns. They have different endings, not one special ending. Zeus means what? Horse. Ish means what? Man. Navi means what? Prophet. Melech means what? King. Okay, so there is no special ending for any of these nouns. Yes.
As you don't know special ending, why can identify masculine with the feminine?
Because the feminine, as you will see, has a special ending. So anytime you see that ending, you know it's not masculine. It has to be feminine, as a general rule.
So that's the all feminine noun that one ending.
The masculine nouns have different endings. It's not one, just different.
Yeah, what the feminine is now.
Has one ending, as you're going to see now. The feminine singular noun is recognized by the accented kames and he. Kames is that letter that looks like our T in English, capital T. And he, of course, is the regular alphabet consonant he, corresponding to our English H. Now, all you do in forming a feminine noun in the singular is to add on to the masculine noun kames he. Does anybody know where the stick is?
I think it's those two
Oh, that's all right. Don't bother, because the class is going to be short. All right, I will do without it. If you notice in the first word up there, Zeus was the name of horse. The masculine singular noun was Zeus. And all you need to do to change it from a masculine horse to a feminine horse is to add kames and he at the end. So now instead of saying Zeus, which is horse, you say Susa, Susa, which is mare, M-A-R-E, which is a female horse. Yes.
No, I arrived, but I prepared that I rode a Susa yesterday.
Okay. Did you actually?
No, I was
All right. All right. So you recognize the feminine noun in the singular when you see an AH in English at the end. The kames A is our AH. There is an AH at the end of the word. It's a feminine singular noun. So Zeus is the masculine, but when you add kames and he at the end of Zeus, you get a female horse, Susa. A similar thing happens with Ish. Ish by itself is man, but when you add kames and he at the end of Ish, and you get Isha. Isha is woman. So Ish is man, you add kames and he, our AH in English, at the end of Ish, and you get the woman. Now, Navi is the masculine singular of prophet. But when you add kames he at the end of Navi, this is what you get. There is some change in the first syllable. Instead of the kames in the first syllable, it becomes a vocal schwa, ne. The V remains the same, the aleph remains the same, but what you add is kames he, and it produces nebiya. Now the reason why there is a change in the kames under nu in the first syllable of navi is that when you are hurriedly pronouncing nebiya, you cannot say nabiya in the Hebrew. You'll have to say ne, not na but ne. So it changes from a kames to a simple schwa, which is vocal or is pronounced, nebiya. I will have more to say on that in another lesson. Now, Melech was the masculine singular noun meaning king. When you add kames he at the end of Melech, different changes happen. The segol under the mem changes to a patah. The segol under lamed changes to a simple schwa. And so you end up having malka. Malka. Instead of meleka, you have malka. Malka, as you see in the English spelling, which is queen. Malka is the feminine, and Melech is the masculine. Melech is king, Malka is queen. Nabi is prophet, Nebiya is prophetess. The ESS ending in English is a sign of the feminine. Okay? So you have mare, female horse, woman, prophetess, queen. Notice they have all one thing in common. They all end with kames he. Feminine singular nouns end with kames he. But the masculine singular noun doesn't have one ending. Yes.
And that is, or I can know if we talk about you are okay.
We will be learning the plural later. How to form the plural in the masculine and how to form the plural in the feminine. But we're going little step by little step. Can't show you everything at one time. Step by step. Yes, Northeast, do you have any comment or question? No, okay.
All right, show this.
All right.
This. All right. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now we have looked at nouns. We have looked at nouns. Now we're going to be looking at adjectives. The masculine singular has no special ending, just like in the masculine singular noun. The masculine singular adjective has no special ending. Look at how the different words have different endings. Tov, the first word at the top, is the adjective that is translated as good. Ra, because the ayin at the end is not pronounced in English, so you say ra, that means evil. Gathol, the third word, means great, and Ram means high. Ram means high. Notice all of these masculine singular adjectives have a different ending. They don't have one special ending, just like the masculine singular noun. Now, do you know the relationship between a noun and an adjective? A noun gives a name to a person, place, or thing, or idea. An adjective describes that person, place, or thing, or idea. So it is similar. You have for the masculine singular noun no special ending, and also for the masculine singular adjective there is no special ending. Each of these words has a different ending in the masculine singular.
So the adjective describe
The noun.
I would say my idea is wonderful. So
Wonderful would be describing the idea.
Yeah.
That's right. Idea would be the noun, and wonderful would be the adjective. Or, I have a good friend. Friend is noun, and good is the adjective. Or, my wife-to-be is a beautiful woman. Beautiful is the adjective, woman is the noun. The adjective describes the person, place, or thing that is identified.
The man has done a great job.
Great is the adjective, job is the noun. Okay, you have not just said he has done a job, you have told us what kind of job it is, a great job. Okay, so each of these endings in the masculine singular adjective are different because there is not one special ending for the masculine singular adjective. Just as there is no one special ending for the masculine singular noun. But let us look at the feminine singular adjective. And the same thing that happened to the feminine singular noun can be applied to the feminine singular adjective. It is formed in the same way as you form the feminine singular noun. All you do is to take the masculine singular adjective and put at the end of it Thomas, A, A-H. You put A-H in English at the end of the masculine singular adjective to form the feminine singular adjective. The commas he or the AH is the sign of the feminine singular adjective, just as it is the sign of the feminine singular noun. So let us look at these words. In the previous slide, you saw the first word tov, which means good. In the second slide, you have tov, and at the end of tov, you have commas he added, giving tova. 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 It's the same in English. You will be able to distinguish it by the context, because good might be used to refer, in this case, in the English translation, since it's a feminine adjective that is used, you wouldn't say good man because it's a feminine adjective. You would say good woman. And in the case of tov, you wouldn't say good woman by using a masculine singular noun, adjective rather. You would say good what? Man. So even though in English the spelling of good does not tell you by itself whether it is masculine or feminine, you must understand it in the context with which word it is connected or used. So tova is good, that's feminine. In the previous slide you had ra, meaning evil, and when you add commas he to ra, you get ra'ah. Ra'ah, that's evil. Yes.
Previous lesson we had Rama.
Okay. It sounds the same, but it's spelled differently. Ra'ah, that you're referring to from the previous lesson, lesson 16, is spelled resh. Then you have the commas a under the resh. Then you have an aleph. You don't have an ayin, you have an aleph. And under the aleph, of course, you have another commas a, and it ends in a he. So in English, you would say R-A, and then there is an apostrophe looking symbol to represent the aleph. Then you have A again, and then you have H. Ra'ah is pronounced just like our Ra'ah here, but you will know the difference by Ra'ah, which means he saw, has aleph there. Ra'ah here, which has an ayin in the middle, means evil. And Ra'ah is a verb, but this Ra'ah is an adjective.
And some different spelling.
Different spelling, it only sounds the same. It only sounds the same. That might be what might confuse someone. But when you look at it, when you're able to see it and not just hear the sound, you will know that it's a different word, not the same word. The third one, getolah, the masculine singular was gato, but because you add commas and he at the end, the commas in the first syllable under the gimel changes to a simple shua. So you have getolah because you're hurriedly pronouncing it by rushing to pronounce and emphasize the last syllable. That's where the emphasis is usually placed in Hebrew on the last syllable. So getolah, you're rushing to the end. Getolah, getolah. That's great. Then in the masculine singular, it was ram, meaning high. When you add a kames he at the end of ram, you get rama, which is high. So you notice that there is one ending that the feminine singular has, and that is a kames he ending. The masculine singular has different endings. Not one special ending, but the kames he is the special ending for the feminine singular adjective and the feminine singular noun. Okay, I think this is as far as I will take you today. So we have looked at the following. Let me just sum it up. We have seen that there is no special ending for masculine nouns. Each masculine noun has its own ending. But the feminine singular noun is recognized by the accented kames he ending. Also in adjectives, the masculine singular has no special ending, just like in the masculine singular nouns. But the feminine singular adjective is formed by adding kames he to the masculine singular form. So the feminine is recognized in both the noun and the adjective by adding kames he at the end of the masculine singular noun or the masculine singular adjective. No special ending for the masculine singular noun or adjective, but a special ending for the feminine singular noun and the feminine singular adjective. That is what we have learned today in the lesson entitled Nouns and Adjectives. Tomorrow, God willing, we will continue from where I stopped today by looking at 6 relationships between adjectives and nouns. So it is a good place for us to end today. Tomorrow we will start at this point in our lesson, relationships of adjectives to nouns. God willing, I will send you this PowerPoint so that you will have it to look over. Thank you all for your attention and your questions. And thank you all on the internet for joining us in this lesson on nouns and adjectives. Tomorrow, God willing, we will continue this Hebrew lesson. God bless you all. Yes.